Hey guys, Fishmonger here. I'm doing an update today on some of my mining rigs, and I'm actually going to be doing an upgrade on one of them. This is my personal computer. It's a total mess over here, and so don't judge or whatever. But I currently have a 1050 and a 1060 in here, and I want to take the 1060 out and swap it over to the mining rig because I just got a whole bunch of new risers, and before I was limited with how many I could hook up into the computer because I only had so many risers, but now I do have an extra riser, which is great. So I'm actually going to hook up the riser. I'm going to bring it over there with the 1060. I'm going to put that over there, and I'm going to put my 1050 in my computer. So I'm going to be doing like a little swapperoonies over here. So I guess the first thing I got to do is, my gosh, make it so I can get to this. This is horrible. It is such a bad setup over here. I use it. I mean, whatever. It's just me. I don't care. And there's my train. But it's just, doesn't bother me at all, the mess. It has a lot of train. But for instance, this is my computer. I think you can see it. Yeah, I always keep the side off to kind of keep everything a little bit airy and better over here. And right now I have, just sitting on the top, here's my little 1050. Just kind of hanging out on a riser that's right above the thingamajigger over there. He's going to go in the computer because I really don't do much gaming on here. And then this is my 1060, which is physically in the computer. But I'm going to take him out, and I'll put him in the miner. So let me get this unscrewed and removed here. Unplug the supplemental GPU power. Take the card out. Voila. Don't scratch anything. So there's the 1060 that is removed. While I'm here working on this computer, I'm going to plug the 1050 in. If I had a can of compressed air, I'd also kill some of these dust bunnies that are back here, but that's for another day. So he's coming out. Voila, that's done. Plug in my 3 monitors. Here's my DVI. Here's my HDMI for the audio. Here is the display port for the main. I actually don't need this supplemental power cord here anymore because the 1050 is just powered directly from the PCI bus. In fact, I'm not even going to need this one anymore. This little external riser. So I'm going to kind of unplug all this because I don't like all these cords kind of hanging out. And then this guy here, I don't need him. This is the riser that was in the system here because I just had that set up so I could run 2 cards. One of the nice things about having a motherboard and a mining rig that holds as many video cards as that thing does is the fact that I don't need to swap or use my personal computer for mining anymore. Now my personal computer is basically just my personal computer. So this is all set up. This I can't do anything with. He's just always in the power supply here. So I'm just going to kind of tuck him away nice and neat. And then it looks like all my other cords are good. Everything's plugged in the back. I'm going to swing this monitor back around. Now when I first boot this computer up, it's going to say, "Whoa, Nelly, what the hell happened to the video cards that were in there?" It's not actually going to say that, but it's going to kind of think that. And it's going to run through the gauntlet of switching around some of the NVIDIA drivers and probably redetecting displays and all that stuff. And actually, the first thing it might do is not put the display on this main screen. It tends to want to default to, you can't see it, but I have a third monitor over here because I run a triple monitor setup. Oops. And this is the regular, just the VGA that runs off of the VGA out on the motherboard. It tends to make that the primary display sometimes when I switch around the cards. So I'm going to plug him in. I'm going to turn this on. Hopefully nothing blows up. Let me just double check. We look good. Nothing blew up. Good sign. And I'm going to let this do all of its driver and stuff, all that stuff. I'm going to let it do all that crap while I'm over on the mining rig putting the new card in. So let's go do that. Alright, so this is the mining rig currently, and this is the card I'm going to be putting in there. It's one of the super clocked. Oh, oops, this is just a regular GTX 1060. It's not one of the super clock cards. But I'll be putting them in this rig. I'm currently using, and I got light over here now, so it should be a little bit easier to see, but there is the Asus B250 Mining Expert, and I've actually had 13 cards running on this before, which is great. It can technically go up to 19, but from my understanding, you need those special P106 mining cards from NVIDIA, and you know, unless I can get them at a really cheap price, I'm not going to invest in them, because last I saw those prices, they were $300+, and it's ridiculous. I buy all my 1060s for like $180 or less, so I'm not going to pay $120 premium just to get the same exact card that allows me to run 6 more on this. I'm actually just better off buying another one of these motherboards and then running another 13 video cards in that. It's just kind of silly. So I mean, I like the idea of being able to run 19 on here, but the investment cost of running the mining cards is just outrageous right now. It's ridiculous. So currently I've got, you know, the 5 cards up top. Got 1070, 1070, 1070 Ti, 1070 Ti, 1070 Ti. On the bottom rack, it's these are all the 1060 superclock cards from EVGA. And then underneath here right now, just kind of thrown together because I had no other room until I redo this rig, is basically a 1060 superclocked and then a regular 1060. And then, of course, I'll be putting my other 1060 in here. So the goal is, I'm going to kind of move these over a little bit and space them out. And I'm going to get another riser, and I'll probably just flip it upside down like I'm doing here. It still gets good airflow and all that shit. I'm going to power it from the, sorry, my hand's in the way. I'm going to power it from that server power supply in the back into the riser. And then, of course, also the card itself has supplemental power, so I'll plug that in. And then basically I'm going to take, oh, see, I had a hanging out back here. I got to unplug all this, but this is where the 1050 was for the longest time. I had it just hanging out, plugged into this thing, and it was just pretty stupid. So I'm going to unplug all this stuff and then plug my other guy in. So let me go do that, and I'm going to skip a lot of this boring crap here, so let's just stop the video. I know a lot of people are not big into eBay, but I'll tell you what, man, if you spend your time and you just check out auctions and, where's my head? If you spend your time and you check out auctions and you look around for good deals, you can get good deals. I ended up picking up 6 of these risers. They came with the power, you know, the USB cords and the little jiggers that go into the motherboard and all that stuff. I got 6 of them for $10 with free shipping because I found an auction of a guy who was just selling all these. They're brand new. I found this auction of a guy selling these things. And okay, maybe they're not new. This one looks like it was kind of used, but whatever. They're still good. $10 for 6 of these things, like free shipping. That's ridiculous. And I got a guy on eBay. I also bought 19 fans from him, 120 millimeter fans, because I'm gonna definitely need some cooling in the summertime. And I only paid, it was like $38 or something like that for the 19 fans, which is pretty dang cheap. It ended up being like $1.60 or $1.80 a fan. My normal price was 17 or 18 bucks for 5 of those 120 millimeter fans from Newegg, which is actually a pretty good deal. But you know, the price per fan, absolutely ridiculous if you can get them from people in bulk or whatever. They're used fans, but I got so many of them that I imagine they're going to be good. And I told the guy too, after I bought the auction, I emailed him. I said he had other ones for sale. I'm like, you want to, like, you know, I could pay you in crypto, send me up some more fans or whatever, like, you know, we'll just throw them in the same box. He's like, give me, he's like, I can give you another, pay me $20 or whatever, I'll give you another, like, 15 fans or whatever. And I'm like, okay, cool. So I got that done too. So I'm going to have, like, a buttload of fans, which is fine. I'd rather have more than not. But the way I figure it is, I eventually want to kind of put this, I like this open rig case, but I eventually want to put it in some kind of closed case that allows me to have a intake and an exhaust where I can basically have air, fresh air come in, funnel over all the components like super fast, and then basically exit out somewhere else where the intake and the exhaust are, you know, not in the same room or even close to each other. And that'll allow me to basically cycle all the air in here super, super fast, and I can keep these fans on the cards themselves kind of running low because the airflow inside of this thing will be so high, it'll be like a nice little air chamber or whatever. So anyway, I digress. Let's get this set up on that other card, and we should be rolling. So the way I'm going to do I don't know if I want to keep kneeling. Maybe I can just go, yeah, is that better? Am I in the screen? Am I in? My head's kind of in there? Okay. So the way I'm going to do this, because my 1060s don't really use a lot of power, is I'm basically just going to take one of these homemade cords that I made out of scrap wire, plug it into a splitter. I'm going to run it right into the the server supply here. Actually, let me do that. Where the hell's my screwdriver? My gosh, one of these days I'm actually not going to lose something. Screwdriver. All right. This is my old mount from the old power supply that was here, and it's going to kind of be in the way, so let me remove this. I don't need metal all over the place shorting everything out. So let me get him unscrewed. Alrighty. And if anyone asks why I've got these cards in the bottom here like upside down, it's just because, let me see if I can fix this. Oh, yeah, that's better. So if anybody asks why I got these cards in here upside down like this, it's just because the USB cords themselves, I've got them kind of going up and hitting the motherboard, and if I were to turn them upside down, they'd be turn them the right way up, they'd be 4 inches away, and they wouldn't be long enough. So having the cards run upside down like this is basically the only way I can make it so they reach. It's not the prettiest looking thing, and like I said, it's totally temporary. But how's my pepper? But it works, and that's the most important thing. So I'm going to plug in my 6-pin into the power supply here. Obviously, I have all the power turned off. Not only that, but all my power runs into a outlet switch, which also is turned off. So I know that there's absolutely zero power going into this. I'm going to try to move this guy over a little bit just to space him out of here more. Same thing with this one. I'm going to move him over a little bit. And then I'm going to take the riser and the card, do a little pluggy plug. They're all good to go there. I'm going to plug this in. This is the power for the riser itself. And then I'm going to plug this supplemental power in there. And I'm going to kind of position him upside down just like all the other ones. And then plug in my USB. So this now is officially, you know what? I don't know if I like that USB thing. It seems really loose. Hang on a second, are the other ones that loose? I have a whole bunch extra, so I might as well use the ones that are good, but I don't like the way that one feels. No, this one's not loose. So I'm going to swap that around. I'm not taking the risk. I'll take a look at him later on my other system when he's not plugged into a motherboard with 19 other video cards. You know what? I don't even need to do that. Why am I unplugging that? I need to unplug this. But yeah, I don't know if you can see that header right there. It's pretty loose, so that's a little chewed up. Not really happy with it. This one though was good, so let's use him. Actually, I'm going to be smart. Plug this in beforehand. There you go. Zero problems there. So with this here, I officially have 13 GPUs set up into this motherboard. This is the Asus B250 Mining Expert with now 13 GPUs. I got, what is it, 5, 6, 7, 8 1060s. I run these 1060s on Ethereum right now because I absolutely love the profit and the payback on them. You know, they're getting about 24 mega hash for each one of these 1060s for about 75 to 80 watts, and I'm only paying like 180 bucks for them. So sure, there's cards out there that are faster, like the RX 470s and 480s and 570s and all that stuff, but you're going to pay an arm and a leg for them. I mean, nowadays it's really hard to get them for 170 bucks. They're also going to give you not much more speed than 24. You know, you can hit 30. It's only like a difference of 6, but you got to do all the BIOS modding on them and all that stuff. It's kind of a pain. These, you just, right out of the box, you can just underclock the core, overclock the memory, and you're good to go. And, you know, not only that, but it's a 1060. They're tiny. They got good resale value, too. Granted, there's only 3 gig of memory on them, but with Ethereum right now, the DAG's going to run for quite some time until I can't do them. And then even after that, for 80 watts, I can do 300 hashes a second, mega hash. And they're not too skimpy when it comes to other algorithms like Kryptonite and all that stuff. So it's not like they're bad for, you know, for the price I'm paying, less than 180 bucks each. It's a good deal. So last double check. Let's bring this over. You can see here there's the cards upside down. It's going to do one last double check on the wiring and everything, and it should be good. I'm going to come in here and just snug up my my risers in case I moved any of them. They should all be good. So that's looking okay. What I am going to do, I'm going to bring the cord over. Okay, I'm going to set this up. So I'm going to boot into Hive. Freaking coffee cup. I'm going to boot into Hive and have this screen plugged in as the primary monitor so we can watch the boot up process. So you'll see exactly what I'm seeing for the first time. Should recognize all 13 cards. And that light's going to be a problem. Let me see if I can fix that. Alright, we're going to have to deal with that for now. It's not the prettiest looking thing, but it works. So I'm going to make sure my monitor's turned on, and it is. I'm going to add power. I'm going to turn on the outlet switch. Outlet switch is turned on. I'm going to turn power on to the motherboard. Everything's booting up okay so far. Fans are all spinning, looking good. There's the screen for Asus. Should get all greens, and I do. So as you can see, the 13 green slots, everything's working. And here's the boot up screen. Obviously, it's telling me no keyboards detected because I got nothing plugged in. I am going to switch over and use the remote terminal here in a second to get into it. Actually, let me, while this is doing this, I have to actually check my other computer. I'm recording on my laptop right now. Where the hell's my mouse? To make sure that it's recognizing the 1050 and that's all good. And it is. That is all set up. So it looks like my personal computer is working perfectly fine over here, which is great. So I'm going to log up. I'm going to open up the VNC viewer. It's going to take a second. This is detecting the, you know, it's got that, it did add a card to it, so the boot up's going to take probably a little bit longer. And what I'm likely going to see is a couple of errors here, because whenever you add a card to the system, it kind of screws up the previous cards and like the overclocking settings and everything that was in it. Because like right now it's going to go through and it's applying my overclocking settings and everything to all the other cards that were in there, but because they're out of order now, you know, when I added that other one, it's potentially out of order, so the settings might be off. So let's see. So far those three look like it's good. Basically it's saying this 1060, it's allocating 75 watts to it. This 1070 Ti, put it at 130 watts, that's 75 watts for that 1060, 130 for that 1070 Ti. That one set the 1060 to 110 watts, which obviously is an issue, because I don't want them running that high. 1070, yeah, see that one's screwed up, so it's giving me the error there, so I can see that. So let me come into here, and I am doing a remote in right now, which is why you can see the mouse is moving. So when this comes up, I'm going to manually type in to stop, because I don't want the miner to run with these settings. And I'm going to reconfigure the settings via the Hive OS web interface. Alright, so that's all booted up and good. I'm going to type in miner stop. So now it's stopping the screen section. And let's change the recording over and actually get a screen capture here. I'll be finished with the laptop for now. Alrighty, so I am back on using my personal computer to do the recording here, and you can see the screen is showing the remote access that I have using the VNC viewer into my rig. You can see all the cards are all accepted and all set up. It's running 13 GPUs right now. If I come into this screen here, I can open up the Hive operating system screen here, and you can see that it's obviously giving me a couple of errors, which is perfectly fine. It's saying it's offline because we're going to come into it and we're going to change some settings to initialize some things. So the first thing I want to do is, I have all these cards now. Man, you know what? And I'm really OCD. I would love for these to all be in like an order, and maybe one of these days I'll flip around all those PCIe slots to do that. But for right now, I just gotta know that, you know, card ID number 0 is a 1060, card ID number 2 is a 1060, yada, yada, yada. So we're going to come in and change our OC settings here. So let's see here. We're going to come into here. Basically, I want negative 50 megahertz on all the 1060s. So it's going to be negative 50
Card number 2 is a 1070 Ti's. I want him running at 150 above, and then negative 50, and then 150, negative 50, 150, 150, negative 50, negative 50, negative 50, negative 50, 150, negative 50. There you go, GPU number 12. And the memory to match that should be, I run 1400 megahertz on all of the cards that are the 1060s. So, it's popping a little bit. So we're going to run 1400, and then it's going to be 800 on the 1070 Ti's, 1400, and 800, and then 1400, 800, 800, 1400. I actually find it's easier to enter all these in over instead of having to go back and edit the previous settings for whatever reason. So you can see GPU number 12, and then GPU number 12, that all matches up. I'll leave the fans at 80% for everything right now until I can figure out what the temperature is. And then the power limit, I'm going to set my 1060s at 75 watts. 1070 Ti's will run at 130. 75 watts, 130, 75, 110, 130, 75, 75, 75, 75, 110, and then 75. So there's all those settings. I'm going to apply them. One of the things I did notice, and I don't know if it's because of the board or what, normally with Hive OS, when I apply these settings, you can see it's sending the command, and actually I'll go over to the screen. Well, you can't see it, but it sends the command over, and basically it adjusts all your cards. I've been having some trouble with it actually making those changes unless I reboot. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to send it the command to reboot because I reprogrammed all the cards. Actually, wait, I'm not going to do that yet. I have to change my wallets. So let's go do that. I'm going to come into the wallets. And the reason I have to change this is because I'm running Claymore Duel only on the cards that are going to be mining ETH. And I actually have to come back into here because I don't remember the card numbers. All right, what was it? That's card number 0, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let's see. 0, 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, and then A is number 10. And then basically it's going to be number 12 also. 12 is C. So those are the card IDs right there. Then I'm going to come into the Zcash miner, and I'm going to say the other cards, which are basically the 1070 Ti's and 1070s. So card number 1, 3, 5, 6, and 11. 5, 6, 11. Those are the ones that are going to be running DSTM. So I'm going to hit OK here. That's going to update the wallets. So they're actually all set now. So if I come back into my Mining Expert, actually what's going to happen is it's going to reset the miner when it does that. So you can see when you update the wallets, it automatically resets everything and then starts mining. So you can see here's all the 1060s that are going to start mining Ethereum right now. And let's see, you can see I've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards running. Let's take a look at their speeds real fast. They're all pretty much around 24 mega hash, which is good. GPU 2 is a little bit lower, but it's likely going to come back up. Sometimes they're not always, 100% up to speed all the time. But in any event, I'm going to stop this and do the reboot anyway, so because the power might not be set on it properly. And that's probably the case because you can see it's actually still low. It's 19. So let's come into here. I'm going to tell it to reboot the rig. I should hear that reset. Right, did you reset? It should tell me. Yeah, I hear the fan spinning down right now, so that's okay. I was going to say, and it's going to lose connection here. So that's going to be resetting. It's going to be reapplying all my power settings, and my profiles, and all that stuff. Now, one thing I actually noticed in Hive OS, and I have no idea why, but this bar up top here does not correspond, the information that's here does not correspond to the information here. This information here is actually correct. This information here is not. For instance, you can see if I hover over this one, it says GPU 4 is 38 degrees, right? And it's not, it's 42. The one that's 38 is actually number 8, right? Or for instance, if I look at, let's see here, GPU 8. Okay, GPU 8 over here, if I hover over this, it's telling me it's running 40 degrees, and it's obviously running Equihash, 496. That's one of my 1050 Ti's. But if I come over here to say GPU number 8, it's actually one of the 1060s. So they don't match. So it's kind of annoying. I used to set my power and my fan profiles and everything using this top bar, and I was like ripping my hair out saying, what the hell? Why is this not working? Why is everything not lining up? And it turns out it's just because for whatever reason in the system, maybe it's a bug with Hive OS, maybe it's me, I don't really know, but it's not, the numbers weren't like lining up using that. So I always use this information here when it comes to my overclocking and all the settings and all that stuff now. So it sounds like that's coming online. And you can see it is. I reconnected with VNC. It's resetting all the power profiles here. So you can see it changed this 1060 to 75 watts. 1070 Ti is 130. This guy's 75 watts. This guy's 130. I might actually lower my 1070s and 1070 Ti's. I never run this many cards off of this one outlet before. And I think the total wattage is probably going to be around 1200 watts. Which isn't a lot, but I'm not going to be home later, and I don't want to be pulling that much power, at least on the first day, without me being here to kind of check temperatures and all that stuff. So I'll probably downclock a lot of the 1070s and 1070 Ti's, and I'll run the whole system maybe like 100, 120 watts less to help with some of the power consumption here. And I will do I'm going to shut my window because I got my window open right now over that, but I'll shut the window to do some temperature checks to make sure everything's all set again before I leave, so... Let's see, it looks like this is all set. I'm going to open up another terminal screen here. And I'm going to open up a miner window. That's Claymore. And then I'm going to come over here and open up a miner window. And this is DSTM. And I'm going to try to align them so we can see all of the information at the same exact time. So I'm going to go like that. You know, it's one of the nice things I like about Hive is you can come right in. You know, full-fledged Linux system, and you can do all these commands and check all these things just like this in real time, which is great. So let's see, I've got currently, let me check the power and the settings over here. DSTM, it looks like it's good. GPU 1, 497 and 493, then 492, those are my 1070 Ti's. Here's a 1070 at 450, another one at around 450 is 446. That's about right. So they're all those settings are all right and all running good, which is great. Here is my 1060s. It still looks like GPU 2 is running less. I don't know why. Everything is running around 24 megahash. Except for that one. It's running around 19. Let me check the overclock settings on that. It's saying it's... well, here it's GPU number 2. Of course it doesn't line up. But it is one of the 1060s. So let's go take a look here. And take a look at the power profile. So here's a 1060, 77 watts. 76 watts, 76 watts, 75 watts, 75 watts, 72, 76, and 73. So they're all getting the right amount of power. It might be an overclocking thing. So let me take a look here. So again, I should have card number 0 at 1400, card number 2 at 1400. That's right. And then card number 4 at 1400. And then the next one's going to be 7, 8, 9, 10 at 1400. And then card number 12 at 1400. So that all looks good. What about the core? Should be negative 50. Again, GPU number 2. Negative 50, that's correct. GPU number 4. It's negative 50. GPU number 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 12. So yeah, that's looking about right. Everything looks good here as far as the settings go. I don't know why I'm not hashing as high as the other ones. That's interesting. I've never had a 1060 hash less with the same settings. They're all pretty much around the 22 to 24 mark. Although it's entirely possible that it's maybe just that one card. You know, not everything is going to run exactly the same. But I'm still getting close to 20 mega hash, which is still, you know, perfectly respectable. So if we come over and take a look at Nicehash, let's see what this is saying. It's still going to get up to speed here. Because it's only reporting 93 and then 929. So I'll give this a little bit of time, give it a couple minutes to kind of catch up. Because it should, you know, accurately reflect the approximate 183 speed here and then the 2350 over there. So when I do that, let me get the projected payouts and see where we're at. All right, I just did a refresh here, and it looks like it's more in line to where it should be. The numbers don't 100% match because this is saying it's high, this is saying it's low, but from my memory, I kind of remember it saying that I'm going to get around 0.022 Bitcoins per day, and at Bitcoin's current price, it's around $20 to $22 a day for this setup. So I'm happy with the results because in the end, I think it ended up, coming out to be around, well, let me see if I did a quick... Let me see, $22 a day at like 30 days. It was over 600. I remember that the estimated monthly average, which of course isn't going to hold true because Bitcoin's price is going to fluctuate daily. So you can basically throw out any kind of projected monthly incomes out the window. They mean absolute dick when it comes to pricing things out because it's never going to hold true. It's going to fluctuate high. It's going to fluctuate low. It's basically almost a useless number. I don't even know why they have this here, monthly income. It's always useless because you're never going to hit that number because it's always going to change. It's almost like you got to go by daily, or hell, they should almost put an hourly income in there because that's probably going to be more accurate. But that's good. So I'm happy with the system and the way it's set up. The next thing I'm going to do is, again, when all those fans come in, I'm probably going to reset my rig, change everything around so I don't have to have the wires kind of like all over the place with the way they're set up right now. And I should be rolling. It should be a lot better. So that'll be the next video probably coming up for me is the changing of this rig. So if you're interested in it, look forward to it. Hit that little subscribe button down below, and there's a little bell kind of thing. If you hit that, you get notified when I actually, when I actually upload a video. So if you want to kind of see all the stuff, like pretty much like right when it happens, you can do that. And I think they call it the notification squad. I think that's where that comes from. So anyway, this is Fishmonger. I'm signing out. I will catch you on the flip side.